All right. Hey, welcome today. We are talking with Jeff and Jeff.
Great names, by the way.
Yes.
You couldn't pick a
better
better couple of guys, right?
Yeah. So Jeff over here is a brand new agent, and he is going to help us today talk about reverse mortgages. But in order to talk about reverse mortgages, we had to bring the guru in.
Oh,
We-
thanks, Doug.
We got to bring the guy in.
Appreciate it.
So Jeff knows all, but in true fashion, we want to make sure that we clarify that we don't know everything. We don't know all the details. We're going to talk in very general terms,
Very high level.
high level, because there are so many different tentacles that go on, especially in the finance world, and the same in a reverse mortgage, that we just can't, unless we sit down one-on-one, we really can't talk specifics.
Right. Exactly.
So there you go.
Well, would you like me to tell you basically what a reverse mortgage is?
Let's start with the definition.
Okay.
You bet.
Let's start with that. So what everybody really knows out in the industry about lending mostly is a forward mortgage or a normal mortgage that you hear about. That's where you have a payment each and every month. You make payments, the principal comes down a little bit, and it starts to go down more and more until it eventually pays off. A reverse mortgage is the opposite of that. You don't have a principal and interest payment. Instead, that's being added to the balance, and it slowly is climbing over time. That's a simple definition. That's what it is.
Okay. So with that, let's take a second. We're just going to do this on the board real quick. So what he was saying, if you buy a house for $500,000, and pardon the hieroglyphics, but $500,000 in a oversimplified math, if you have a $5,000 mortgage payment every month, your mortgage is going to go down. So this is what he's talking about when a forward mortgage. Correct? So
obviously part of that's principal and part of that's interest, but this is simple math.
Simple. We can't do complicated. I can't. But so anyway, so then in a reverse situation, what you're going to do is on this $500,000 house, you're going to start with a down payment-ish. You're going to still have that call it a $5,000 payment, but that's just going to be added in every month. So it goes, so this comes down, this goes up.
Simple as that.
Okay?
So, great.
Easy enough. Okay.
So, and I don't know if we're going out of direction here where we want to go, but I think maybe let's just talk about why use a reverse mortgage.
I like it. Let's do.
So I think there's probably three different main reasons why you would want to use a reverse mortgage. And this is in no particular order, but probably the first one would be, someone is having first of all, how old do you need to be to even get a reverse mortgage? We got to say that.
How old, Jeff? How old do you think?
Oh man, I hope as young as possible, honestly.
62.
Oh, wow.
You have to be 62 years old to get a reverse mortgage. I think that probably has a lot to do with the time when you get Social Security. I don't know, maybe. That's a guess.
So 62, but if it's a couple, do both of them have to be older than 62?
No, just the main person that's on the loan.
Just the main.
Yeah.
But both can be on it.
Yes, which would be great. I think that's a smart way to go when you're doing something like this.
Okay.
So there you go. So you got to be 62. You got to be able to have a reverse mortgage in the first place. So one of the reasons why maybe somebody would want to get a reverse mortgage is, let's say they're a single person, man or woman, doesn't matter. And they're working full time. They feel really good about that, but they've had a medical issue that's come up. Suddenly they now have to be going to the doctor's office a lot, to the hospital, have treatments done maybe. And they're like, I can't work full time, but I need my full time income to make this work. Well, you could do a reverse mortgage, eliminate that principal and interest portion. And it's probably important to say principal and interest because when you do a reverse mortgage, you still have to pay your property taxes and homeowners insurance. but that's way less than what a mortgage would be. So in doing a reverse mortgage, you could eliminate that payment, and then in addition, you could actually get an equity line on the reverse mortgage that you can borrow against to maybe even pay those medical bills. So now you're never going to have a medical bill payment that's going to make your month tough. You're never going to have a mortgage. You can work less hours and still survive and be comfortable.
So basically, no mortgage payment, and almost like a debit card that you could use against that, to where you could spend and pay it back and things like that on
Yeah,
that.
they don't give you a debit card, but yes.
Yeah.
Same
Well, I
thing,
mean,
same idea.
High level, right?
Right, high level. Yeah, so this is a great way to make it work. And so maybe backing up just a second, there's really 3 different types of or ways you can have a reverse mortgage. Number one, let's say you have a large balance on a mortgage. You can turn that and do a reverse on it, and now you no longer have a payment. If you have additional equity, you could turn that current balance on your mortgage into the reverse, plus get a line of credit, this equity line, to be able to use for whatever purposes you need. Or let's say you don't owe anything on the property and you're like, well, I don't owe anything. Well, that's okay. You could still get that a large equity line to be able to use to be able to fund your retirement without ever taking additional money out. So let's talk about some more scenarios. Let's give another scenario. And this is actually the one I think that a lot of people would use. And that's, they've been in this home that they're currently in for a long time. And they've got equity built up in this home, but it's not fitting their needs anymore, or they want to just have something different. Maybe they have grandkids and kids that want to come over, but there's not enough room, so they need to buy a different home that has more space for hosting and having people there. But they're like, but if I go and buy that home, even if I take all the equity from this home and I get a forward mortgage on that, the payment's going to be too big. I won't be able to live, or it's not going to be comfortable. Well, you could still take the equity from that home, buy the next home, and not have a mortgage payment on it.
Mm-hmm.
How great is that? Now you've got a space where everybody can come and make it worthwhile. And that's just kind of a general one, but I think you had a pretty good one that an actual example.
You know what I did? I worked with a couple, and they were in their mid 70s that way, and they lived in a little 900 square foot house on an acre, and had raised their whole family there, and they wanted a more comfortable living space as they got older. The main level living, laundry on the main level, not up and down stairs, those types of things. And so, but in order to do that, we couldn't sell that and find them something else in that same price range. And so the reverse mortgage was the option for them. And, when you sit in front of somebody, especially a gentleman that's been through it in his life, and sits there and they tell you with tears running down their face that all they want is a nice house for their wife when he's gone. I mean, that's what really hits home, and it drives you.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, we use the reverse. We got it done. And a couple of months after the fact, I go sit down and talk to him. He's in his rocking chair there, and he looks at me and he tells me that at 77, that was the first time he'd ever lived in a house with air conditioning.
Oh my word! Wow.
And so to me, that's the benefit of a reverse mortgage. They were able to do what he wanted without the mortgage payment and stuff, and both of them are there. So it just works.
Yeah, and I think that that's a real important part. UCCU, this is a great new product that we have that we're offering this reverse mortgage. And I think that it's important to note that one of the biggest reasons that we wanted to add this was to help our members of the credit union to be comfortable in their retirement years. to be able to live and enjoy life in those retirement years, because they deserve it and they've earned it.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty great. Which kind of leads me into probably the third option. There's a lot of times where folks they're like, hey, I did a really good job. I worked really hard. I paid off my house. Why would I need a reverse mortgage? If I need money, I can just go get a home equity line of credit. And a home equity line of credit is just a big line of credit where you're using the equity in your home to use that. And you just start borrowing against that when you need it. The problem with that is now you have a payment.
Mm-hmm.
And those payments can be such that it might make your month-to-month living difficult. But with a reverse mortgage, you can get a line of credit on a reverse on that same home and be able to borrow against it and never have a payment again. So this would be great for the folks that are like, hey, my kids live in different areas. We'd love to go visit them and their grandchildren. Or maybe they don't have any children or grandchildren. They just want to travel. But they're like, we didn't have enough money to really be able to travel and feel comfortable that we could still live the rest of our lives. But with this, you can't. You could do that. And so this is an option, again, to make those retirement years worthwhile, just in a beautiful time of life.
So to me, I think this is one of those, kind of that small print places where everybody's individual.
Right.
And this is so important. And the reason why you want to speak to a financial person like Jeff, because, having a forward mortgage or a reverse mortgage, everybody's going to be different and every scenario is different. And so being able to speak to somebody professional that can give you all those options is a really good place to start.
Absolutely. And, reverse mortgages are pretty great in the fact that there is a lot of education that you have to go through as a borrower. So you get to really learn about what this is doing, how it's going to affect you in the long term, and you can make the right decision for you and your family. But I think it's important to note, what happens later on, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So with this, we get asked all the time about how this works with the couple, and so if you have both a husband and wife on a reverse mortgage and one passes away, then the other one is still there and is still in control.
Correct. They're living in it as their primary residence.
Correct.
So that's okay.
Yeah.
And the reverse mortgage continues.
Yeah. So the reverse continues. So no hiccup, that way. When both parties have passed away, then it goes to the trust or the family or the, whoever that way. And they have a decision to make as far as what are they going to do with the house? Are they going to sell it? Are they going to buy it? Do they want to, buy it and rent it? I mean, whatever they want to do, but they just need to let the company know what they're going to do, the lending company, and then go ahead and proceed and get it done.
Correct.
And so it really is fairly easy that way. The one thing that I understand is that as you do that, you're never going to owe more on the house than what the appraised value is. So if it appraises at 500, you're never going to owe 6 because you're going to owe right there at the 5.
Yes. And that's the short answer.
See, Jeff's head's going like this because he's got all the fine details that he's like, well, there's this and this and this. And this.
There are a lot of specifics that can happen with this specific deal, but the loan is designed so that you're never going to catch up to how the value is increasing. So over time, as the value of your home is going up, so is the mortgage, but it's designed to not pass it. Could that happen? Yeah, potentially, I guess. Anything's possible, but the loan is very smart. It's so much better than it was 8 years ago.
8 years ago, 10 years ago.
10 years ago. I mean, this is a much, much better product that is really efficient and helpful for those during their retirement years. So.
Okay. What do you think, Jeff? You got any questions?
Honestly, you guys kind of answered them all, so it sounds something to look forward to.
So one thing that is in there with the reverse is that the down payment part of that. So again, my understanding and being through a reverse mortgage or two, my understanding is that based on your age impacts the down payment.
They refer to it more of life expectancy, but yes.
Okay, so when you kick the bucket, it's going to depend on.
That's terrible, isn't it?
Right. Anyway, so but what I mean with that is if you're 62 and you're buying a $500,000 house, you may have to put down half. Okay, yeah. So you put down half, but if you're 75,
you may not.
You may only need to put down 75 or 100. So it varies based on the age, and it's the age of the youngest of the group. So yeah. My wife's younger than I am, and so if we were in that category, it would be based off of her age and not mine.
Yeah. So there's again, every situation is going to be different for every person, but that's a very good general overview. Exactly done right. So, you know what? You need to reach out to us. You need to learn more, because this is a great way. Whether you're doing it as a purchase and moving into a new property, whether you're using it for your current residence and you plan on staying there for the rest of your life, this is something that can really help you during retirement to be happy and fulfilled.
And to me, this is why you use your professionals, because you go see Jeff, and again, Jeff's got forward mortgages. He's got all kinds of things, all kinds of arrows in his quiver.
Yeah, we get to compare those.
Sure.
And you get to see, and you get to go, okay, well, I'm interested to hear more about the reverse, but I don't know if it's for me. And it isn't for everybody.
No.
But it does fit a lot of different people too. So, we can go with the forward mortgage. What is this going to look like? Or a home equity line of credit. And then we look at the reverse mortgage, and we compare and contrast those to figure out what is the best for your particular situation. And that's what we want to do as professionals in the mortgage industry and in the real estate industry, is make sure that we're doing the right thing for you and putting you into the right product.
And that's why the team is so important too, because if you've got a real estate person that's running around that has no clue about reverse mortgages or other things or what UCCU can offer, you're not going to get the benefit.
Yeah.
And so you want to make sure that you're working with a professional team, a great realtor, a great mortgage person, great title people. You want to make sure that team is rock solid, because it really is your financial future.
Well, and you don't know what you don't know, right? I love that phrase. You don't know what you don't know. And for someone a team, a group of people to be able to hold your hand, walk you through, teach you, and help you make the best decisions is the greatest way to go when it comes to real estate.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it, and look forward to getting all the questions from you guys.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me on. Thanks, Doug.
You're welcome.